She looked me straight in the eyes and said, "Let's just be friends." After 2 full years together, I smiled and said, "Perfect." And then I did something she clearly wasn't prepared for. I treated her exactly the way I treat every other friend in my life, with boundaries. That's when she learned what just friends actually means. 3 weeks ago, my girlfriend Hazel, 27, gave me the classic speech. I'm 28. We'd been together for 2 years and living together for 1. From my perspective, things were solid. We talked about future plans. I was supposed to be her +1 at her sister's wedding next summer. It all felt stable. Then, on a random Thursday night, she sat me down and said those 4 words no one ever wants to hear. "We need to talk." I already knew where it was going. She told me she loved me, but she wasn't in love anymore. She said we should transition into being friends. Transition. Like we were changing job roles instead of ending a relationship. Her reasoning sounded rehearsed. We get along well. Same friend group. Same interests. She said we'd be incredible friends, just not great partners. Then came the part that really stung. She said she needed to find herself outside of us. But she didn't want to lose me completely. So basically, she wanted to break up but keep me emotionally available. When I said it out loud like that, she said it sounded bad. She insisted it wasn't like that. We could still hang out. Still be close. Still be in each other's lives. What crushed me was this: she said all of this while her bag was already packed. Her friend Victoria was picking her up in an hour. She had planned the breakup down to the minute. She told me Victoria said she could stay with her while we figured out the living situation. No rush. We're adults. We're friends. We'll make it work. I sat there trying to process how 2 years of living together, talking about kids someday, had suddenly turned into a friendship agreement. So I agreed. I told her she was right. We're adults. We can make this work. She smiled, relieved, like everything had gone exactly according to her plan. End the relationship but keep all the benefits. She even thanked me for being mature. Said this was proof we'd be great friends. She left that night. The next morning, I did exactly what she asked. I treated her like a friend. And that's when I realized something important. She and I had very different definitions of friendship. Her first text came early. She hoped I slept well and asked if I could drop off her work laptop because she forgot it. I said sure, and told her I'd leave it at the front desk of her office on Monday. She didn't like that. She wanted me to bring it to Victoria's because she needed it for the weekend. I told her Monday worked better for me. She asked what plans I had. I told her, friend stuff. That was the first crack. Then Saturday came. She invited me to brunch like nothing had changed. I politely declined. She reminded me we always did Saturday brunch. I reminded her that was when we were dating. 2 hours later, she texted saying things felt weird. Asked why I was being distant and cold. I wasn't distant. I was doing exactly what she asked. Being a friend. Here's the lesson she learned the hard way. When some people say, let's be friends, they really mean, let's keep everything the same except commitment. What I heard was boundaries. By week 2, the entitlement started showing. She let herself into the apartment while I was at work, used groceries, did laundry, took a shower, borrowed things, and left a note saying she hoped that was okay. It wasn't. I texted her and asked for the key back. She was shocked. Said friends don't do that. I explained calmly, my friends don't have keys to my place. We could arrange times for her to pick up her things like adults. Like friends. She showed up furious that evening. I had changed the locks. Not out of spite, out of clarity. She didn't live there anymore. She accused me of being petty. I reminded her that I was treating her exactly the same way I treat every other friend in my life. That's when reality hit her. Then came the final twist. Our mutual friend group had a game night. I showed up alone. She showed up with a guy named Andrew, clearly brought to make me jealous. I shook his hand, welcomed him, and carried on like nothing was wrong. Halfway through the night, she cornered me and asked why I didn't care. I told her the truth. Friends date people. Why would I be jealous? She couldn't answer, because the truth was uncomfortable. She didn't want friendship. She wanted control without commitment. And that's when she noticed something else. Her best friend Victoria had been laughing at my jokes all night. The next morning, Hazel texted me, upset. She accused me of flirting. I told her the same thing she told me. We were just talking, friends talk. And that's when she finally understood what just friends really means. She looked at me and said, "She's my best friend. And I'm your friend too, right? Friends can be friends with each other's friends." I didn't respond. 3 full days of silence followed. Then on Thursday she switched tactics. She messaged me saying she thought she'd made a mistake. I asked what she meant. "Us," she said. "Maybe we should talk." I agreed on my terms. She suggested dinner in person back at our place. I declined. I already had plans. I offered coffee on Saturday afternoon instead. That's when the question started. Plans with who? Does it matter? Friends don't need to report their schedules to each other. She asked if it was Victoria. I repeated myself. Coffee on Saturday or not at all? She snapped and said this wasn't how friends behave. I corrected her. This is exactly how friends behave. What she was describing was how boyfriends behave. Common mistake. Update 2. 3 weeks in, her finding herself journey wasn't going the way she expected. Andrew, the yoga guy, ghosted her after 2 dates. Turns out he wasn't interested in being anyone's emotional rebound. Meanwhile, I was quietly thriving. Single. Focused. Living well. Boundaries intact. Then Victoria texted me. She said she had an extra ticket to a comedy show on Saturday and asked if I wanted to go. Now this part matters. I didn't chase Victoria. I hadn't even considered her that way until she made it clear she was interested. She was confident, fun, and, most importantly, direct. No games. No transitions. No keeping someone on standby, just in case. I said yes. She warned me that Hazel was acting strange about us hanging out. I appreciated the honesty. I told her I was still interested. Saturday arrived. I got dressed feeling good. First real date in 2 years. As I was heading out, my phone blew up. She demanded to know if I was serious. About what? Victoria told her I was taking her out. I explained it was a comedy show. She invited me. That's when she lost it. "You can't date my best friend." I asked why. She said it was girl code. Best friends don't date exes. I reminded her I wasn't her ex because she said we were friends. She said I knew what she meant. I didn't. Friends don't own people. Friends don't call dibs on each other's lives. She called me 17 times. I silenced my phone and went on the date. And it was incredible. Victoria was genuinely funny, something I'd never noticed before because I'd only ever seen her through Hazel's shadow. We talked about everything except Hazel, until the end. Victoria told me Hazel was losing it, crying, claiming I'd betrayed her. I asked Victoria how she felt. She said Hazel had been a terrible friend lately. Everything revolved around her growth, her journey. She even admitted Hazel told her I was being kept as a safety net in case she didn't find someone better. Word for word, that was the moment Victoria said she realized I deserved better. We kissed goodnight. Nothing more. Just a simple, honest first date kiss. I posted nothing, told no one, but somehow Hazel knew. Sunday morning, 6 a.m. She was pounding on my door. I told her through the door it was too early, she didn't care. She accused me of kissing her best friend. I opened the door. She looked exhausted. Same clothes. Red eyes. Hair untouched. She said I was doing this to hurt her. I told her the truth, I was living my life. She was the one who ended the relationship. She said friends, not dating my friends. I reminded her she asked for freedom. I gave it to her. She tried to push past me into the apartment. I blocked her, she didn't live there anymore. She said she still had things inside. I told her to schedule a pickup like we'd already discussed. She accused me of being cruel. I corrected her again. This wasn't cruelty. This was boundaries. That's when the entitlement fully surfaced. She started calling mutual friends, spinning stories about how I was revenge dating Victoria, manipulating the situation to punish her. Some people believed her, most didn't. One friend called me and repeated her claims. I asked him if she mentioned dumping me to find herself, while expecting me to wait around as a backup. She hadn't. Funny how selective honesty works. But she wasn't finished. She tried to sabotage my job. She called my office, pretending to be my emergency contact, claiming I was having a mental health crisis and needed time off. My boss pulled me aside, genuinely concerned. I explained she was my ex. She was struggling. I wasn't. I documented everything with HR immediately. When someone loses emotional control, they may escalate into reputation damage or professional interference. That's no longer heartbreak. That's manipulation. Always document. Always protect yourself. Update 3. 1 month after the Let's Be Friends conversation, her entire plan had collapsed. Victoria and I were officially dating. Nothing heavy. No chaos. Just mutual respect. Hazel, meanwhile, spiraled. She tried turning Victoria against me by sending screenshots, old messages, couple photos. Victoria showed me everything. She said it only proved how patient I'd been and how unstable Hazel had become. Then came the final move, the nuclear option. A 2 a.m. text. I'm late. Late for what? I'm pregnant. I congratulated her, asked who the father was. She said it was mine. I did the math. We hadn't been together in 2 months. She'd dated multiple people since. I didn't accuse her, I simply calculated, and the silence that followed told me everything. If she really thought there was a chance the baby might be mine, I told her we'd handle it like adults. Doctor's appointment. A paternity test when it was medically possible. No drama. No games. No constant texting. Just silence until facts were on the table. The very next day I get a message. False alarm. Got my period. Convenient timing. But that wasn't the real explosion. The real meltdown came when she realized I wasn't bluffing about separating our lives cleanly. When she walked away, she assumed I'd still quietly fund everything while she found herself. The apartment. The utilities. The shared phone plan we only got because it was cheaper together. That illusion shattered fast. Her mom called me, already heated. What's this about you canceling Hazel's phone? I told her the truth. I didn't cancel it. I removed Hazel from my plan. She's an adult. She can get her own. Her mom pushed back. She can't afford that right now. And I said what nobody wanted to hear. Then she should have thought about that before ending the relationship. Apparently that made me petty. But here's an important lesson most people avoid. After a breakup, financial boundaries aren't cruelty, they're responsibility. Friends don't pay each other's phone bills. Exes don't subsidize independence. After 2 years, I wasn't being vindictive. I was being practical. Her mom tried one last angle. She made a mistake. She knows that now. Good. Then she just learned a very expensive but necessary life lesson. Things escalated when Hazel found out Victoria and I were planning a weekend trip. Same beach town Hazel and I had visited for our anniversary the year before. Apparently, geography now belonged to her emotional history. She sent me a novel-length text accusing me of erasing our memories, disrespecting what we had, and crossing some invisible line by taking her best friend to our place. I reminded her of reality. It's a public beach. Nobody owns it. She said, "You know exactly what you're doing." And she was right. I was taking my girlfriend on a weekend trip. That's when she snapped back. She's not your girlfriend. She's my friend. Past tense. Victoria dropped her the moment Hazel tried to guilt her for being happy. That's another hard truth people struggle with. Anyone who punishes your joy was never on your side. Then Hazel made her biggest mistake. She showed up at Victoria's workplace. Loud. Emotional. Accusatory. Security had to escort her out. Her boss was furious. Victoria called me shaking, barely holding it together. "She's completely lost it," she said. "She's screaming that you stole her life." I asked the only question that made sense at that point. "Do you want to file a restraining order?" Because this wasn't heartbreak anymore. This was instability. The restraining order turned out to be the wake-up call Hazel needed. That, and getting fired for missing too many days while spiraling through her various breakdowns. Here's another uncomfortable truth. Finding yourself is impossible when you're stalking your ex and trying to control their future. Last I heard from mutual friends, she moved back in with her parents. Therapy followed, court-mandated after the workplace incident. Both Victoria and I blocked her everywhere. The yoga guy she'd been seeing? dating someone else now, posts about it constantly. She works part-time at a bookstore these days. The entitlement never fully disappeared though. She sent one final email before I blocked that too. I hope you're happy. You got everything you wanted. You turned my best friend against me. You made me look crazy. You ruined my life, all because you couldn't handle being just friends. She claimed she only tried to keep me in her life because she cared. That she tried to let me down gently. That I had to win. Congratulations, she wrote. You won. She ended it with, you and Victoria deserve each other. I didn't respond. There was no point. In her mind, she's still the victim of some elaborate revenge plot instead of someone facing the consequences of her own decisions. The truth is simpler. I never planned any of this. When she said, let's just be friends, I believed her. And I treated her exactly how I treat my friends. With boundaries, respect, and appropriate distance. That's what she couldn't handle. What she really wanted wasn't friendship. She wanted me waiting, hoping, available, emotionally parked while she explored other options. She wanted the comfort of knowing I was still there without offering commitment in return. When I didn't play that role, when I actually moved on, her entire plan collapsed. Victoria and I are still together. It's been easy, drama-free, honest, adult. We joke sometimes about how absurd our beginning was, but mostly we just enjoy each other. Dating someone who knows what they want is refreshing. So here's my advice, and it matters. When someone says they want to be just friends after a serious relationship, believe them. Then treat them like a friend. Nothing more, nothing less. Set boundaries, move forward, live your life. Because real friends want you happy. They don't trap you in emotional limbo. They don't demand relationship privileges while hiding behind a friendship label. Hazel wanted all the benefits of a relationship without any responsibility. A backup plan, a safety net, emotional insurance while she searched for something better. When I refused to play that role, reality hit hard. And here's the part that matters most. I didn't do anything cruel. I didn't smear her name. I didn't weaponize social media. I didn't manipulate mutual friends. I simply lived my life. Her collapse was self-inflicted. She ended the relationship, tried to keep me on standby, exploded when I moved on, harassed her best friend, created scenes at work, scrambled to control the narrative. All I did was exactly what she asked. I treated her like a friend. And that turned out to be the most painful consequence, not because it was cruel, but because it forced her to face the reality of her own decision. When someone ends a relationship but expects emotional loyalty to remain, real friendship feels like punishment, but it isn't. It's just friendship. The very thing she claimed she wanted. Funny how that works. If this story hit close to home, share your thoughts in the comments. Your experience may help someone else feel less alone. This is Dark Infidelity Stories. If these stories resonate with you, like the video, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear this truth. Turn on notifications so you never miss what's next. Until next time.